Well, hello there. This is Gordon, the podcast lawyer, and I was in the wrong profile in my software. Whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. It is Thursday. It's a little after 4 p.m., and this is Legit Podcast Pro, where I talk about things relating to podcast law. And today I want to call out a kind of business speak, I guess you could say, that is very prevalent and that really rubs me the wrong way sometimes. I'm talking about the word partner. We talk, and you hear people in business talk about their partners, and let's make a partnership of this, or let's, a brand partnership or a customer partnership, and they have it has its place, but it really bothers me when folks talk about partners when they mean something different. If you're talking about a customer or a client relationship, talk about that way. Don't call it a partnership. It's not a partnership. If you're talking about an advertising deal for your podcast, don't call it a partnership. They're not your partners. They're your customer. They're your client, or you're theirs. Don't call things partnership. And the reason I'm sort of up in arms about this is that partnership carries with it some burdens and some risks and some dangers that I don't think most people think of when they start throwing the word partner out there. A partner is someone who shares equally and jointly and severally, I'll talk about what that means in a minute, in all of the risk and all of the upside from whatever the venture is that the partners are getting into. So if you intend to go in with a co-host and be equals on everything and share the expenses and share the obligations and responsibilities and share the upside, the profits and the credit and all those kinds of things, great. It's a partnership. I call it a co-production or co-hosting relationship, but it's a partnership, and that's fine. And in the law, when two or more people get into a venture of one sort or another together. We used to say two or more people entering into business, for profit, entering into a venture. That is a partner, and the law will treat them as such, as equals, unless there's a specific written document that says something else. And liable for the debts and obligations and risks and all those things that go with whatever the enterprise is. That's where the trouble can begin. And they're co-owners. The partners own jointly in everything that the partnership creates. Now, that may be perfectly fine. That may be what you want when you're going into a co-host relationship. But I promise you, it's not what you or your sponsor want when you are getting into an advertising deal, right? They don't want to co-own the show with you. You don't want to co-own it with them. They want to give you some money in exchange for ads running or some other split of money, some kind of a division of revenues or assets, but they don't want to take the risk. If you have an advertiser on your show and they call you their partner and you call them your partner and you infringe a copyright, it's theoretically possible, and it wouldn't even surprise me. It's a stupid lawyer trick. Sue everybody you can. Well, the lawyers for the owner of that copyrighted work, they're going to be looking for whoever can actually pay them, right? So they're going to sue your partner. And they're going to say, hey, you call yourself a partner. You don't get to say you're not one now, right? That kind of thing. And that's something called an estoppel argument. So joint and several liability means that all of the partners are responsible for the entirety of any liability or risk or loss that might be sustained. So first I want to say hello to those of you who are watching live. I know that there are some of you there, and I'm glad that you're here. If you would say something in the comments, let me know. If you have a question or something about the law as it relates to podcasting or intellectual property or media production or those kind of things, I'd be delighted to answer with you today. Normally on these days, I have a more prepared talk to give. But this week I'm not doing that because I have a special invitation for you that I'll be getting to in just a couple of minutes. But I'd love to chat with you. If you have something to say, drop a note in the comments, and we'll chit chat about those things. Anyway, back to my screed against the term partner. It's become this kind of business speak because for some reason business people got the sense that they want to have some kind of a deeper connection with customers, clients, co-venturers, vendors, and those kinds of things. And that is wonderful. But I don't think we mean to call it a partnership. We don't necessarily look for the actual trappings and consequences of being truly in partnership. So if you are talking about the brand that you're going to do an affiliate deal with, you can say, hey, I'm an affiliate of so-and-so. You don't have to say, hey, I've got a brand partnership with so-and-so. First of all, the audience perceives it as gobbledygook, and the companies don't need that kind of attachment unless it is genuinely a partnership. Let's also talk about some other terms that come into this. Joint venture is a kind of partnership, right? Co-production is a kind of partnership, but collaboration is a kind of partnership. And as I said, that is wonderful if that's really what you're doing and that's what your intention is. But the word will convey an intention that may or may not be real in your mind. So make sure that you are using the term advisedly. I guess that's what I'm saying. So I'm not going to rant too much more about that. I just wanted to get that off my chest. It's been bugging me the last week or so. And I see it coming up an awful lot in the podcasting space, especially. If you're doing a deal with another brand and you want to treat it like a partnership, it could be that it is a partnership. But there are better ways to articulate it. And if you're going to have a partnership, get it in writing. Because again, the scope of that partnership could be interpreted and perceived as much broader than it actually is. If it's a single purpose partnership, then that's what we call a joint venture. And it makes sense to say so. Get the intention of the parties very, very clear, not just between them, but to the outside world as well. Because I'll tell you, this came up in a situation where a client of mine he was a guy who works in the theater business, and he bargained for and received credit as a producer of the play that he was working on. Now, he was actually sort of a hired gun, but they gave him credit as a producer. So he was listed up there with the other 3 or 4 producers of the show. And to the outside world, that makes it look like he's an owner of the business, right? A partner in the enterprise. Well, the show developed a problem. Somebody got hurt. An audience member was hurt when something happened in the theater. And of course, the audience members' lawyers are now looking to who do we sue? And in this instance, here we have this guy who was a hired gun working on this production for a fee, who thought it was great to get a producer credit and ended up having to hire lawyers and defend himself, and the insurance for the project had to come in, and they had to wrestle with the insurance to cover him, and all those kinds of things. And it all could have been handled differently had they been clear on paper about the nature of the relationship, but also had they maybe chosen different terminology. Now, producer credit is in the entertainment industry is an issue that we have to think about. And that's a situation where if you are going to be in a situation where partnership is what it's going to look like to the outside world, make sure, if you're not intending to take on all that risk and liability, that there's indemnification language in the documents so that the business, the enterprise, will be paying for your lawyers and your insurance and all those things should anything negative come to pass. So enough about calling each other partners when it's not really what we mean to be. I think it's better to have good documentation. Even if you are getting into a typical partnership, the limited liability company structure is actually a better format because it provides limited liability, among other things, and can be beneficial. Don is here saying, this is an issue I faced when I first started my podcast, and the miscommunication created tons of friction around division of ownership. Great topic. Thanks, Don, and it's nice to see you. I didn't know you were here, so that's wonderful. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that comes up, and if you don't mind, I'm going to use your example next time I talk about this, because it's exactly the kind of thing that happens. There was another situation with a co-host of a podcast that came on after the podcast had been up and running for a few years, but that co-host ended up coming on, and eventually the original host sort of ended up taking a less involved role, and eventually the two of them got into a bit of a disagreement over how to monetize the show, and the host of the show, the guy who had created the show, and actually the network that the show was on, was owned by this guy. He, in a text message, sort of said to the other, hey, do it your way. It's your show. Go ahead. I'm good with it. And the other guy actually interpreted that exchange as being a transfer of ownership. It's your show. And we ended up having to duke it out over the course of probably about a year just to get that stuff worked out. Well, this is exactly the kind of thing that I'm going to be talking about and presenting some strategies and ideas about how to deal with it, how to avoid the problems and address it if it does come up in the free workshop that I'm going to be running in just about a week and a half. On the 16th, I'm looking for an image in my files here that I want to put up on the screen. But on the 16th of August, I will be doing my workshop. Where is it? Where'd you go? Workshop art? It's supposed to be right here in my folder. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Well, anyway, the workshop is called, oh, here it is. I'm going to drop it on the screen. Here we go. Business and Legal Fundamentals for Podcast Growth and Profit. August 16th, 9 a.m. Pacific time. I will be doing this as a live workshop on Zoom, and I'm going to run through a bunch of, not just this topic, but a number of related things about how you can get yourself set up to be more professional in your approach to the business and legal side of what you're doing, even if you're not trying to make a profit with your podcast. It is it's a thing you want to be taking care of, is getting more professional in your approach. And in order to do that, well, I'm going to share with you what you need to do in order to do that. So you can register now. Let me get this up on the screen. I should have had everything ready to go and didn't. So let me, where are my overlays? Let's see. Let me give you here it is. There's the live work. That's the one I just showed you. Here we go. Go on over to podcastlaw.net. And you can register for the free online workshop. There it is. And join me. Head on over there right now. Don't wait. And actually, Donna, I can't type in the comments, but maybe you could, if you're still with me. Type that in there for me, podcastlaw.net, just so that people can do the HTTP, so people can click on it. Appreciate the help. And yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be about a little less than an hour, probably. Plenty of time for Q&A. Doing it on Zoom, so you'll have access to actually chat with me live and ask questions. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I've got a good number of people signed up already. There is plenty of room, but let's get signed up sooner rather than later, so we don't run out of that room. And join me. Again, I'm going to put the slide back up here just for you to see here. There it is. And let me put this down here so you can see it. Register now at Actually, what I'll do is put it over here. And then I'm playing with this live as we're going. I'm using a beta of the software that I usually use for this kind of a thing. And I'm having a little fun with it, but it is what it is. So here we go. Put this here. Let's see how close a match that is on the color. Let's go. Not close enough, but it's there for you to see. You go to podcastlaw.net and register for the workshop, and that'll be fun and great. So anyway, I don't have much else to say. I've gone for my usual about 15 or 20 minutes. If you don't have any questions, I will sign off. I'll just say thanks again for being here and watching. And yeah, if there's anything else, well, anyway, join me on the 16th at 9 a.m. Pacific time for Business and Legal Fundamentals for Podcast Growth and Profit. I am excited about it. I'm looking forward to presenting the material. It's a new presentation. I haven't done that one before. So there it is, podcastlaw.net. And that's going to be good. It's going to be good. Thank you for being here with me today. And I guess I'll see you again really soon. I'll be back. I'm going to do this a few more times between now and then, in addition to my normal Thursday time slot. So stay tuned, watch this channel, and have a great day. Happy Thursday.